Blam fam! So you guys remember when I made that silky straight wig from VRBest Hair for Allison? Well baby, she has put that hair through the ringer, okay? Like look at the shape that she has it in. Now I will say the hair is still in really good condition. Allison just has this looking like who did it and why. It looks like bedroom hair, but trust me, she don't be wearing these wigs to bed, so I don't know what she's been doing in this thing. At any rate, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to make over your wig like this with a different coloring technique that I think is going to give this some nice interest without doing too much work to it. So stay tuned, thumbs up if you like it, don't forget to subscribe, and of course turn on post notifications if you've been liking the videos and you want to know the moment that we post. Let's dive right in. So I'm going to begin by just loosely separating this hair off from about the middle section on up. Now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave all of this part untouched, and we will just clip that up and out of the way. Now the hair that we'll be focusing on is this hair down here. On top of that, we're gonna go ahead and leave out this front section of hair. So I'm just gonna separate that out, and we're going to go ahead and braid that off because I don't want it in my way. We're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. From there, I'm going to go ahead and section off again so I can begin working track by track. Once I have that step done, I'm going to go ahead and mix up some lightener. I've got Schwarzkopf's Blonde Me, helps if you turn it towards the camera. Schwarzkopf's Blonde Me lightener with their 30 volume developer. I'll do 1 part of the lightener to 2.5 parts of developer because this one is a bit thicker than most and I want to have a thinner consistency as I work with this. So once I have that mixed up, it'll look like this here. Now notice it has a blue-violet tone to it. The reason why it's blue-violet is because as it lifts, it actually helps to neutralize out your yellow and your orangey tone. So it gives you more of a neutral blonde. If you don't know on the color wheel, blue and violet are opposite of orange and yellow. So blue is orange's direct opposite, which means if you mix the two together, you get a brown. Same thing with purple and your yellow tones. The two are actually cancel each other out, so when you mix them together you get a brown tone as well. Now when you're doing hair color and you've got it at a lighter level, it doesn't actually take it to brown, it just takes it to a neutral shade so you don't end up with those super brassy tones in there and you can get something a bit more true to color. Alright, so from there what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a similar technique to a video that you guys saw me do recently where I'm basically balayaging, but instead of me just letting it be out to the air, I'm going to actually do this. Number one, I'm going to do it a bit heavier than I typically would because I want this to be a much higher impact. And then on top of that, we're going to go ahead and incubate this with foil. Now, in case you don't remember, the reason why we would incubate it with foil is so we can get a higher lift on this hair. So I really want to see the impact of this color on the hair and not just have it to where I'm just basically putting it on here for fun and for giggles and for all that loveliness. I mean, sure, that's great and all, but we really want to see this color take. So we've got that on there. I'm just going to go ahead and pop this foil on this bottom portion here and continue saturating those ends. Now the nice thing is it still leaves a bit of depth in the center, but it allows me to get these ends extremely light because I want to do something a little bit different on this portion of the hair. So once I've got that foil on there, I'm going to go ahead and take my second piece of foil. We're just going to place it directly on top, like so. And then I'll move forward onto the next section. Remember, we're working single track by track. That way we can ensure that we get a nice even consistency of lift. You guys can see I'm beginning by painting pretty heavily on this hair. The technique that we're using is balayage, which by the way, if you did not see my last video on balayage, what balayage is a technique of hair painting. I like it because it's rather quick, it's freehand, and allows you to have a lot of really nice softened lines in your color. It is actually more difficult than it looks, but nonetheless, I think it's an excellent technique of being able to change and lift the hair out to different desired tones. So I'm going to continue this process all the way up this subsection portion of the hair. Once we get up to the top portion of the tracks, I'm going to go ahead and seal with the final foil. From there, I'm going to go ahead and check my first foil because this lightener lifts really quickly. When I say really quickly, I mean really quickly. So let's see if you guys can see the browns in there. It's actually rather light. So we're gonna let that continue to lift. I want it to get to about a good blonde. And we're just gonna close it up so it can incubate and get it nice and light. I'll check it about every 5 to 10 minutes. All right, so it's been about 30 minutes and I'm gonna just let you guys see here the color, which you can't really see it as well since it's still kind of with the foil in the back flash and all of that, but it's rather light. So we're gonna go ahead and get this rinsed out, shampooed, conditioned, and then I will go ahead and blow dry it and we'll get on to the next step of the color. Alright Glam Fam, so you guys know I do this part-time, so I had to head back to work and I ended up letting this air dry, but that's nice because no heat. But I wanted you guys to kind of see the color that this was just from bleaching before I do anything else. So this is basically where we lifted to on these ends. And while this is okay, to me I really want to see a nicer result to the finished look. So I'm going to glaze this with a bit of color and that way we can really have some intensity there. So here's what colors I'm going to be using. So I'm going to start off towards the top with Arctic Fox's Wrath. This is basically a deep red tone. It's what we have in Allison's hair now, so I literally just had this sitting around the house. And then I'm going to be using Joico's Fiery Coral. I always want to say coil. And this one is basically like an intense copper. So it's going to start off here and it will melt down to this one here. And I'll show you some simple techniques to be able to do that in there. Now, a lot of times when you are working with multiple colors, it can be really confusing as you're working with it, so you often want to have a visual reminder on top of just the difference in the colors. So notice I have one with a light brush. This will be for the copper tone that's towards the end because it's a lighter tone. The darker brush will be the one towards the top, which is a darker tone. So, you know, a little bit of common sense there, but it goes a long way. Alright Glam Fam, so we're ready to apply this color. Please make sure you have on gloves because this will stain the life out of your hands. I also have a large bag down on the floor because I don't want to stain my floor. So when you're working with colors like this, even with bleach, if you're not really experienced, you definitely want to make sure you have some sort of countermeasures. Now just to show you guys, there's a subtle difference, but it makes a big difference in there. This is the Wrath. This one is the Fiery Coral. So I want you guys to be able to see the difference in intensity there. It looks a little orangey to me on camera, but this one is actually red, and then this one is actually a little bit more intense than what you see on camera. So you gotta love the camera one way or the other, but nonetheless. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna grab a piece of foil. So I'm gonna go ahead and place that foil right on underneath where the color starts. And actually, let's separate that. I need to work on this in smaller sections. Now, of course, with this part, I'm definitely making sure I'm working with smaller sections because I want to see a certain degree of neatness to it. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply at this upper portion, starting just above where the lightened section of hair begins. I'm going to go ahead and do that about halfway down the color-treated section of hair, like so. And I'm just making sure to work that color right on in there. This is why you want to go ahead and have pretty small size sections so you can easily work this color through. I'm basically doing this in a method that's a bit neater than what a lot of you guys are probably seeing illustrated online these days, but nonetheless, I'm all about working in a very neat and clean manner. So that's what that's all about. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another piece of foil, and notice I just abruptly stopped there. So that was with the Wrath. Now I'm going to go in with the Fiery Coral, and basically this is how you get a nice color melt. Now I know a lot of people are doing that whole situation where they're like blurring it together with their fingers. This is going to be a little bit different. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and take this color, and instead of applying down here and blurring it in, I'm going to actually start it just above where I stopped and pull that right on into it. So at first, it's going to go ahead and pull that red on in there, but it creates a nice subtle color blend without you having to get your hands extremely messy and all that throughout the process either. It just gives a much more professional look and feel to it, I think, than doing it with your hands. Don't get me wrong, doing it with your hands is a blast. However, when you want to make sure that you are keeping it as neat and professional as possible, especially since I don't want to stain my carpet, using the foils can be a massive help. So once I've got that done, I'm just gonna go ahead and fold this piece up to right about where that blend starts. Fold it again, and we'll fold it again. I'm just doing this loosely, but it's honestly just to keep it out of my way. We're gonna let that process for 45 minutes, and I'm gonna continue this all the way throughout this section of the hair. Alright, so as you move up the sections of the head, you'll notice the head will widen out, or in this instance, the wig will widen out. So you'll want to go ahead and instead of just doing 2 panels of the foils, you can do 3 or possibly even 4. Just whatever you feel more comfortable with is going to be best for you there. And I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and try 3, and we'll see how that works out for me. So just to give you guys a better look at what's going on, let me go ahead and zoom you in. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Forget not all his benefits, and bless his holy name. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and place that right on underneath there, just like so. Hopefully you guys can clearly see what's going on there. Ooh, ah. Then we're going to go ahead and apply the wrath, which is the red. I'm going to go ahead and start it out just like that. Now this just kind of helps to stick the foil in place. From there, I'm going to slide that foil down to about the tip, and that way I can hit about halfway on the actual majority portion of this here. So I want to go ahead and blend that right on in together, like so. Make sure to work it into that hair. If you miss a spot, it will show. You're welcome for that. From there, I'm going to go ahead and grab my second piece of foil and just pop that right on underneath. And then now, of course, if you are one of those where you buy like the longer pieces of foil, you can easily do that. From now, I'm going to go ahead and go up with my fiery coral. This is the orange, and I'm going to place it right above where we stopped and just drag it down. This allows us to have more of like a melted blend. It's still somewhat abrupt, but honestly it gives a really nice melt and blend to it. I learned this technique, oh Lord, 17 years ago. So yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and work this right on in here, making sure that everything is nicely saturated. I feel like I need a little bit more product right there in the blend, so I'm going to go ahead and go on with some more of the fiery coral. And from there, I'm going to go ahead. Now, if you guys can see there, the fiery coral and the wrath, I'm going to go ahead and straighten that out some. And then I want to fold it up to where the ends are protected, they're copper. The blend is protected, and then I can fold up that red, and then I'm just going to gently do that there. This is going to process for 45 minutes, and like I said before, we'll continue this all the way up the head. Alright you guys, so I'm going to let this process for 45 minutes, and then we will rinse it out, shampoo, condition, and be done. Alright Glam Fam, so I went ahead and let this unit air dry overnight, and I want to go ahead and show you guys what's presently going on with it. So let's move you closer. You guys can kind of see, look at those orangey tones that are peeking out from there. But the nice thing is, as you curl it, things like that, those reds from up top begin to show and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a bit of a basic face frame cut around here. And then I'm going to do some pretty straight, but some curls down towards the end so you can really see some of those reds peek out. And we will be finished. I'll put it on Allison and we'll call it a day. So stay tuned. Alright, so now that we've done that, I've got a metal tip rat tail comb and my flat iron. This is a friction-free flat iron by Cricut. Can you guys see it? Yes, you can. Pretty easy. I probably held that upside down, nonetheless. So I'm honestly just going to take some lazy sections and we're going to flat iron, and I love how the red starts all the way up here, back here. But I'm just going to start by just kind of smoothing some of that hair out. As I hit some of that color, I'm going to begin putting some curl in this hair. I will just continue this process throughout the entire unit. All right, you guys, so now that I'm done curling, I'm gonna go to work, and then tonight Allison and I will get together and get this on her and all of that loveliness. Alright, Glam Fam, and this is the final look on Allison. As you guys can see, she decided to go ahead and move her part line, but hopefully you guys can see the impact of the color. I love it because it's nice and vibrant, but it's still subtle enough to where I feel like it doesn't feel like completely ratchet and ghetto, if you guys understand what I'm saying. But I think it looks really good on her. I think it's nice and subtle, but of course I'm interested in knowing what your thoughts are, so be sure to let us know in the comment box down below. Until next time, you guys, take care, God bless, stay glam, and you know we love you, boo. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you could be notified every single time we post a video. And hey, while you're here, check out these other videos you may have missed. Love you guys. Bye.